All right. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the December Dixie Fire Collaborative Community Meeting. Just real quick, a couple of announcements before we get into the agenda, but there are some membership forms in the back for both individuals and organizations. If you have filled one out at an earlier date, no problem. We'll find it and get to it. This is also for folks that maybe haven't signed up as a member and want to be able to provide their contact information and whatnot so that we can continue to send news, updates, and events information out. So it's something that we've been working on the last few weeks. I have an electronic form as well that can be filled out if that's more convenient. Also, I'd like to direct your attention to that fantastic refreshments table back there provided by the Rotary Club and Leanne Schrammel this month. So thank you so much, Leanne, and for anybody that contributed to that, but thank you, Rotary. We really appreciate it. All right. So the Dixie Fire Long-Term Recovery Group, known as the DFC Dixie Fire Collaborative, is a collaboration of nonprofit, faith-based, local, state, or national organizations that work together to share information and resources that can help address the needs of individuals, families affected by the Dixie wildfire. The stated mission of the DFC is working to fulfill the unmet needs of Dixie Fire survivors and helping to rebuild the communities of Greenville, Indian Falls, Canyon Dam, Warner Valley, and surrounding areas of Plumas County. All programs should support this mission and purpose, and all who work for or on behalf of the DFC shall understand and adhere to that purpose. And with that, we'll welcome Sherry Pryor, our treasurer.
Good morning. Nice to see everyone this morning. It's nice and warm in here. It was great. Lots of activity on the account this week. Oh my gosh. We received another contribution from our the McGreens in Chico. So that number would be 3,000. And we posted for November. Our interest has been posting after the community meetings, but in November we posted another $6,861.68. So our total income now with that gift and with the November interest is $3,550,336.26. And we had a grant that paid out. It's the Roundhouse rebuild there, the last one in the list, for $140,000 that went out. So our total grants approved at this point are $717,221. And let's see, North Valley Community Foundation took another 2%. So they took $30 off our contribution from the couple in Chico. And then we paid out at the bottom of the list, we paid out for the portable toilet for the thrift store until we winterized the bathrooms. So we paid out $268.13 for the use of the portable toilet for the thrift store and their workers. So our total expenditures at this point are $131,570.19. And our current account balance is $2,201,545.07. For the cleanup of the historical buildings, I submitted that invoice this week, so that'll be coming off of our committed funds in the January report. And the Roundhouse rebuild, I removed that, but it's very possible that we still have another $10,000 committed to them should they need that in the future for their gap funding. And so our total commitments at this point are $723,760. And our total expenditures and commitments are $1,572,551.19. And when we divide that by our total income, we end up with 0.515, or we still have committed or expended 52% of our money. So we still have $1,477,785.07 left available for future projects. And I wanted to take some time this morning. I'm going to be stepping away as the treasurer after the election in January. And I wanted to let you know what I do in case you want to be the treasurer. our operating procedure says that the treasurer shall receive, deposit, and account for the financial matters of the DFC, provided regular financial reports to the general members, and perform other functions as deemed necessary by the steering committee. And the only time I touched anything that had to do with money was I mailed the checks to North Valley Community Foundation. I don't touch any money. One of the things that I do is I'm a voting member of the steering committee, so I'm attending them. The steering committee meetings right now, it's the first and third Mondays of the month from 3 to 5. And I do that in person or in Zoom. I participate in the discussions and actions of the steering committee. I prepare the account updates for the Dixie Fire Collaborative and the DFC coordinator sub-fund to send out to the steering committee members, report them here, and report also at the meetings if there is an update to report. The third thing I do is what I just told you I did. The fourth thing I do is to prepare the documents and send them to our communications technicians to update the slides for the community meetings. I monitor, number 5, I monitor the account balance of each fund with the Fund Advisor portal on North Valley Community Foundation. Sometimes I check that once a week. Sometimes I get notification that we've gotten a gift or something's been paid out. And sometimes I don't check it for a while if nothing's happening with the account. In number 6, I complete the requests for payment for invoices approved by the steering committee, and I submit those invoices and required documents via the portal on the North Valley Community Foundation website. So I'm basically just moving that information back and forth with them. They cut all the checks. If they have any questions, they contact me. Otherwise, that's my only involvement, is to submit that information. Then I contact and they contact me, the personnel at North Valley Community Foundation who administrate the 2 funds. So that would be as needed. It's not like you have to check in once a week or once a month. It would be as needed. And then right now I'm maintaining the documentation in digital form and or paper copies so that I have that at my hand, since my computer would boot up for 2 times this morning. So I've got my paper backup. And it looks like a lot. But like this week, I had to submit several invoices and there was the gift and monitoring. And sometimes their weeks go by and I don't really do much of anything. So I don't want to make it seem like it's a big burden. It's a nice way to serve the community, the DFC, and help the community rebuild. So Patrick is going to talk about our upcoming election.
All right. Well, and so Sherry's being somewhat modest because she's done a fantastic job of setting up these processes. And so big shoes to fill, but I know that there's somebody out there and she's done a tremendous job of really setting up that process and those procedures so that that next treasurer, who's probably in this room somewhere, will have a much easier time and get right off and running with it. So thank you, Sherry. Yes. She's not done yet. And we're going to talk about that. In January, on January 20th, which will be our next community meeting, we're going to be allotting some time for our steering committee elections. So overall, there'll be 5 positions available. So let's just talk a few things about the terms of the steering committee membership. So all steering committee members are considered officers and voting members. Additionally, as Sherry mentioned, our meetings go the first and third Mondays of every month from 3 in the afternoon to 5 in the evening. Our officers must sign a conflict of interest and confidentiality statement and recuse themselves from any votes as deemed appropriate. Officers will serve a 3-year term, and the terms are somewhat staggered so that elections can take place every year. It's kind of the way that business got started in the last couple of years. An officer can resign at any time, and then an officer can also be removed at any time with a majority of vote from the steering committee with or without cause. And with regard to the 3-year term, some folks are like, gosh, I don't know if I have that ability to kind of that endurance. And I'd say with, just watching the team over the last few months is that the issues and concepts and projects and things that emerge to really get some steam going, it probably takes about 3 to 6 months to really get your bearings as to what's occurring anyway. And then you'll start to kind of hit your stride and be able to do a lot of the work that needs to be done. So Don't be scared. Responsibilities of the steering committee, strategic direction, accountability of financial expenditures, including grants from funds received, oversight of the committees, coordinators, volunteers, and community leaders, and oversight of my position as the long-term coordinator as well, and execution and achievement of the overall mission. The qualification for a candidate for the steering committee must have lived in or is living in the Dixie Fire area or has experienced trauma caused by the Dixie Fire and is a member of the Dixie Fire Collaborative. So that we're talking about general membership. Again, what I alluded to at the start of the meeting with just having your basic contact information. No fees necessary. It's really just knowing that you're a contributing member and you want to roll up your sleeves and get to work. Open positions. So we have Sherry's position as a treasurer, something that has eluded the team for a long time is a representative from Canyon Dam. And that's something I'm working on over the next few weeks to see what interest there is. But if you know of anybody that you think might be interested, please by all means send them our way. Housing. This person just stays informed around the functional area of housing overall, which there's a lot of items. But doesn't mean you have to be a subject matter expert. Just has to a level of engagement that you can provide news and information and kind of keep your finger on the pulse. And then 2 at-large positions, looking to incorporate a larger area, geographic area, so to include the east side of the valley, potentially if you know somebody that might be interested in the North Arm area, potentially Genesee Valley, all are welcome. So we'll have these sheets available. So let's talk timeline. So today's December 16th. We're talking about it now, making sure that folks have access for nomination and or application. January 5th, that'll be our cutoff date for applications due to me, and I can collect those either via email, snail mail, or just dropping them by our location over here at 127 Crescent Street, Suite 2. And then the election will go on January 20th, right here in this room, with the nominees being able to provide a brief statement, and then open voting and tallying occurring right here at that time. What did I forget? Is that good?
We're working on an online option,
Yes, ma'am.
and if that doesn't work, then we'll have someone on the phone, so you can call in your vote if you're not present to vote.
Yep. So we're working on a couple on remote means, either by telephonically, so somebody can call in, and or online, so that if you can't be here, or if somebody resides outside of the area that wants to participate by voting, they'll have that opportunity to do so. You want to talk?
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, the application is very simple and short and sweet. We have our mission and purpose statements at the top. We have the qualifications that Patrick just told you about, is living in or has lived in or experienced trauma. And the membership of the DMV, the membership forms are on the back table. All you have to do is fill it out and we'll collect it and you're a member. That's how simple it is. So then we just need your contact information, which position on the steering committee you're applying for. Qualifications would be your qualifications of why you think that would be a good position for you to hold. A written statement, which could develop into your candidate's comment at the election. And then signing that you have understood the mission and the purpose and will adhere to that purpose. And as Patrick said, on the bottom of the application are the 3 ways to leave that to him and get your application to him by the 5th, which is a Friday. You can drop it off, like you said, you can mail it in the mail, or you can email it to him. And I believe that the application form will be on the website, DFC website, and there will be, we'll get to that in January, but we'll have absentee ballots on there too. So that's it. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you again, Sharon. All right, next up, we have Mr. Travis Rupke and Ms. Leanne Schrammel to present the Rotary Citizen of the Year.
This is Travis in the coat.
Have to look official.
Very much.
Each year, Greenville Rotary Club presents a Citizen of the Year award. We're a little late for 2022, but we're catching up now. And so we like to recognize those citizens that make a significant contribution to the community of Indian Valley and are just there, available, and are willing to provide time and effort and expertise to make things happen, for positive things to happen here in the Valley. And so that's what we're looking at, and that's what we try to recognize. And so I'm going to hand this over to Leanne, and she's going to be recognizing the 2022 winners. And then she's going to hand it back to me, and I'll be recognizing the 2023 winner.
Travis. I was taught that not 99% of whatever is showing up. So showed up. It doesn't matter if you have icing on your old sweatshirt, but you get bonus points if you've washed your face and brushed your teeth. So there you have it. I want to talk about generosity. That's kind of my theme. Generosity of spirit, generosity perhaps of pocketbook, and generosity of time. So we have two folks that we're recognizing from 2022, and they fit generosity in all those three categories. One of our folks we're recognizing is on Zoom. She's not in town currently, but I'm happy to say our other person we're recognizing, I don't like to say winner. Winner's an odd word. So Cassie, I hate to do this to you. I promised you I'd be humble, but I want you to come up here with me. Cassie Barr. And on Zoom, I don't know if we can capture her, Sue Weber. Do you see her smiling face? I don't know if we'll get to see Sue. After the Dixie fire, everybody stepped forward. Everybody in this room stepped forward. There were a couple of people that really stepped forward and made some big stuff happen. And one of them is Cassie. The spot that we have downtown with the greenhouse, our businesses that are able to come in and out, is a reflection of Cassie's generosity. The thrift shop that I know all of us contribute to and purchase from, that is a reflection of Cassie's generosity. So I'm not going to go into a billion accolades. That's painful for all of us. And I know it's painful for Cassie. So Cassie, it gives me just great pleasure on behalf of Greenville Rotary for 2022, our Citizen of the Year. I guess I should read this. Oh, didn't wear my glasses. In recognition of your commitment and dedication to Indian Valley, following the 2021 Dixie Fire, Rotary Club of Greenville, service above self. Thanks. Let you go back to your seat. And I don't know if there she is. Hi, Sue. Everybody say hi to Sue. Sue is our second person we're recognizing for 2022. Everybody knows how Sue stepped in with her absolute generosity of time and also her expertise in pulling people together on behalf of the community. So again, I promise Sue, I wouldn't go into a lot of stuff about what she did, but just say, Sue's a really cool person. You know that, we know that. And because of that, Greenville Rotary is saying, yo, Sue, Citizen of the Year 2022.
Thank you.
So we have a swell, and it's a little plaque, so you don't have to dust it often. Thanks so much, everyone, and congratulations to Cassie and Sue.
In 2023 has been a very busy year. I was remembering at the Rotary get together earlier this month that a month ago, there's a pile of parts sitting down on the lot that was to be the greenhouse. And I go there because that's where I really start thinking about all the areas that this person contributed, because there was so much that had to get ready for that pile of parts to become eventually assembled by the community into the greenhouse. And so much that had to get ready for the thrift store building to be moved onto site. And even once that was moved onto site, so much to be completed to make sure that the thrift store had the water, the power, all those different pieces. And this person provided equipment, provided expertise, provided crews, provided gravel, made sure that things were done. He was on a quick dial between both Kest and I in terms of being able to come down and lend a hand whenever we needed a hand. And I don't see him right now. I'm hoping he'll show up later. But anyway, the person we're recognizing this year for Rotary's 2023 Citizen of the Year is Randy Hovland. And on his plaque, it reads, "To honor your generous and enthusiastic service and leadership to the community of Greenville following the devastation of the 2021 Dixie Fire. The Rotary Club's motto, service above self." So congratulations, Randy.
Thank you, Rotary, Trav, Leanne, and of course to our recipients, Cassie, Sue, and Randy, for setting that example and contributing. Thank you very much. So next on Zoom as well, we have a brief about the master infrastructure planning provided by Tyler Pugh.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. I just want to take a quick minute to appreciate the individuals that won the Citizens of the Year, but also everyone in the community that has contributed so much. It's really heartwarming to realize the recognition of how much this community has stepped up for each other. And yeah, it was just want to note that. So deeply appreciative for the Rotary to taking the time to recognize those individuals. I'm sorry I'm not there. I've been sick like crazy, so I'm reporting out from my office. So master infrastructure planning update. Taylor, can you go to the next slide? This project was actually it came from the community. When we did the phase 0 work way back in early 2022 to really understand where do we want to go and what could it look like, and even through the visioning work in 2022, one of the things that really came out and stood out a bunch was really around the role of infrastructure, specifically energy systems, wastewater, water, fire suppression, those kind of things. It really came out that the community wanted something, independence was the language that was used a lot. Microgrids is a term that was thrown around, as well as just the ability to potentially use the abundance of resources that we have with biomass, solar, those kind of things that we could use towards our community's benefit, not just on an individual house level, but an entire community and area standpoint. Taylor, can you go to the next slide? So what that started to create was what I called was a master infrastructure plan. I've gotten corrected a little bit around this, and so it's a master utilities plan, not necessarily an infrastructure plan, because we understand that infrastructure includes many other key components, including roadways and things like that. The master utilities plan, master infrastructure plan, we'll use those the same way today, really looked at water, sewer, energy, fire suppression, and thermal, geothermal in particular, which had come up in conversations around the hot springs at the end of Hot Springs Road and adjacent to the high school. This isn't something completely radical or new. These conversations have come up before around how to use these different systems to benefit the community and the town itself. And so what I did with the team was write a proposal to look at all of those systems, so water, sewer, energy, fire suppression, and thermal, all together to look at it from a very high level master planning, but also a very kind of resilient kind of future placed position not just like patching the pipes that we have, but really like, are the pipes in the right place and things like that. Fortunately, can you go to the next slide, Taylor? Fortunately, we were able to secure a grant with the Alumbra Foundation to actually write this master infrastructure plan. This funder, which I should have their name right at the top, Giant, that was the error on my end, is the Alumbra Foundation. They've worked in Medford, Oregon. Specifically, they're interested in rural timber communities and how to support them in stepping forward into the world as it is right now, and also with regards to climate change, building resilience into the energy systems and wastewater and things like that. So we were able to build a team, which includes InfraCenters, PAE, Wisewood, Sherwood, Elemental P, my firm, and Sarah Architects. Sarah, you'd remember they were the ones that helped write Phase 0 and Phase 1A, as well as the town center planning. So they've been engaged with the community since early 2022. And then working with our local partners, so including the county and IVCSD and Sierra Institute, along with many other individuals and agencies across our community and county. And so our goal with this was basically to take example of Sherwood, that's looking at water, wastewater, thermal, and PAE that's looking at energy, and how do we actually layer these systems together to be really smart in their approach, but also resilient, with a tagline of becoming the most resilient small town in the world. It's kind of an ambitious project of how it's framed, but the goal with it is really start to look to the future of the Indian Valley community. So the parameters are basically, it's Indian Valley, includes Greenville, Taylorsville, Crescent Mills, and goes up to Genesee as well. Looking at the existing systems that we already have, and then being able to map out where we have opportunities to build resilience in that system, and also battery storage banks. Could we sync thermal so that we have, the school could be on thermal itself. So we reduce the energy cost, but also potentially push energy out into the grid, which would be a revenue generator for Indian Valley community. So with that, Taylor, can you go to the next slide? The team was on site December 5th and December 6th for 2 days. The team, you can see them in the bottom right-hand corners, consisted of individuals from each of the different consultancies that were listed before. And we basically did a round-robin tour of the site. So we started off in Greenville. Kest, thank you for the tour. We also met with Sheriff Todd Johns to understand the challenges around infrastructure there. Dan Kearns helped lead a tour up in Round Valley Reservoir, which seems to be an opportunity, an underutilized resource, whether for recreation, potentially energy, or fire suppression as a resource. And then we were down at IVCSD and meeting with Patrick and the DFC community members. Then went out to Sierra Institute, visited the wood utilization campus, and saw and understood a little bit about what they're doing out there. And then met with Bill Vadigan to understand what he knows about solar with his deep expertise in the community toward Taylorsville. On Wednesday, we went over and met with the county officials, which was an incredibly fruitful conversation around the current challenges and what's currently in motion right now, and where the opportunities really lie for us with regards to aligning with existing projects that are in motion right now. So with that, one of the leads, Patrick Doherty, is on the call, or is on Zoom with me, and I'd like to have him introduce himself and talk a little bit about the program, and then we'll be available for Q&A time as well. Really excited about this project. It's starting to look at how do we position the infrastructure systems for the future, and starting really thinking about where are the opportunities for that. One thing I'd like to note before Patrick jumps on is, when it comes down to this, we're seeing this at the county level for sure. And we know that Indian Valley Community Service District has had a rough history. There's some people that don't believe that there's capacity for it to be good. There's some people that believe that it is in a good position with the board. What I would say is, at the end of the day, with these civic and public entities like the county and like IVCSD, it fundamentally takes civic engagement, our community members showing up and holding accountable those that are elected officials, to actually do the job that is set out to, and that is in service of the community. And so while we're looking at IVCSD as a primary stakeholder and would hold a lot of this infrastructure, it's really up to the community to hold accountability and to make sure that those that are elected are acting in service of the community. And so I just wanted to remind that this is not something that just happens off to the side, but it takes continual civic engagement by each of us. With that, Patrick, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about what we've done maybe with the PG&E grant and things like that.
Great. Thank you, Tyler. I hope everybody can hear me. As Tyler said, my name is Patrick Doherty. I'm the CEO of InfraCenters, and we're the prime contractor working with a really great team. Some folks that you've worked with before, like Sarah and Elemental Pete, Tyler, and then some new expertise we brought in, some of the best West Coast engineers to address some of the challenges that you're facing there, and realize some of the incredible opportunities that are on the other side of the ledger. So we're excited to be part of this. My background is actually in doing economic development in conflict-affected places that have experienced basically warfare. Worked in the Middle East, Balkans, Caucasus, and Sub-Saharan Africa. So this challenge, I just want to say, hearing the community spirit and having been in the community last week, you guys are doing all the right things. It's really great to see how quickly and how comprehensively the community has rallied, and the different organizations that you've set up to make this go forward. And as Tyler said, keeping that level of engagement, moving into the future, advocating up for your needs is going to be just part of the game going forward. So I think you're really well positioned for success. We did have a really great visit. It really helped anchor a lot of the studies and plans that we had seen in reports that we had seen kind of on our laptops, helped really anchor them in the reality. It's always great to have boots on the ground, as it were. There's some really great opportunities for improving the Indian Valley kind of Dixie Fire area infrastructure and utilities. What Tyler asked me to just talk about real quickly is one of the big opportunities out there around energy. And that's actually as a result of the kind of negligence, malfeasance, and problems that PG and D have had. They've felt enough pressure to not only kind of cut the checks that you all are familiar with, but they've created a new program called the Microgrid Incentive Program. And it's a program that helps communities create more resilience. And of course, we want to be the most resilient community in California. So that is a great opportunity. It comes with up to $18 million of funds for designing and constructing a microgrid. And a microgrid is really just a network of energy assets. You could think of it as batteries, solar, photovoltaic generation equipment. It could be a biomass generator that creates both energy and heat. And they're all connected and providing energy to the community. But then on a regular, what they call blue sky day, but on a black sky day, as they say, when there's a fire event, there's some other type of emergency, and PG would otherwise shut down power to the valley. What we're trying to design is a microgrid that can keep the lights on, at least for a significant portion of the towns themselves. So at the instruction of IVCSD and Adam Cox over there, they've asked us to help lead the application for that money. And so we've already hit our first milestone on that, which was to be completed by December 31st. We've already started that process, and we just yesterday actually submitted our data requests so that we can understand the network. So it's a great opportunity. I will say that, not surprisingly, PG&E is limiting the area for a microgrid that could be on during, say, a public fire emergency, to areas that have been undergrounded, where the distribution feeders have already been undergrounded. Now, Greenville, as you know, has already had a lot of its distribution lines undergrounded, and that work by PG&E is going to continue. What we hope to do is be able to have any of the areas that will be served by undergrounded lines be able to enjoy some level of microgrid resiliency. That's our goal. Now, some areas, some valleys, some kind of smaller valleys where you've got overhead feeders, and that's not going to change, won't be able to do that because you're still energizing those lines, and it could create an enhanced fire risk. So we don't want that to happen again. So it's a great opportunity for probably for the more built up towns and villages in the valley. So we're really excited about that. We're going to get that out. We believe that the last documents need to be in by April, and for that process, and we'll be working with Adam and his team at IVCSD and the county and other stakeholders in the community to get the best possible application and bring those dollars into the Indian Valley. Tyler, is there anything else you wanted me to touch on?
I think that's great. Maybe mention a little bit about the schedule of the master infrastructure planning work. Sure. And kind of what is the role that the community members would have.
Great. Yep. So what we signed the prime contract right around the beginning of December, and then we were able to get on the ground a week later. The first phase of the process is data collection and preliminary planning, and we're gonna we did the site visit, and we're doing the data gathering right now. We've already begun some of the initial kind of conceptual planning, and we're going to have a draft of a utility master plan for layers of community feedback. First through kind of what we're calling the stakeholder group, IVCSD, county, Dixie Fire Collaborative, a number of other community leaders to provide high-level feedback. And then in this meeting in April, around April 20th, I think it is, on a Saturday, we'll present a slightly refined initial plan to the community for feedback. We'll take that feedback in, and we're going to welcome all feedback and digest it, consider it with the stakeholders, and then start to move as we start to lock in the plan. We'll start building out an implementation roadmap. That implementation roadmap will be, okay, if this is the vision, the plan is the vision for how we enhance the resilience of the community, then the roadmap is the practical steps and the kind of the pragmatic, how much is it going to cost? How do you make sure the community can afford the infrastructure that's built that needs to be built, and that it's sequenced well within the rest of the redevelopment, strategy for the larger community. That will be complete by end of August of 2024. So there'll be plenty of time for community feedback throughout that process, and we're really looking forward to engaging with everyone here in how this plan could really serve your interests and needs.
Excellent. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks everyone in the community for the time.
All right, thank you very much to Tyler and Patrick for being on. And again, as they said, they'll be available via on Zoom for Q&A later on. All right. Next up, we have an update from PRS and the Disaster Case Management Program with Paula Johnston, also one of our steering committee members.
Good morning. Like Patrick said, I'm Paula Johnston, Chief Operating Officer for Plymouth Rural Services, and I serve on the steering committee representing disaster case management. Both Plymouth Rural Services and Northern Valley Catholic Social Services are the FEMA-funded case management programs for this fire. And the goal of fire recovery in terms of FEMA is safe and secure housing. So I wanted to provide a bit of the data that has happened since the funding of the fire. It's a 2-year date from the date of the declaration. We were fully funded in May of 2022. Since that time, we've served 1,399 survivors. Part of case management is referring to other resources, and we've referred to 2,655 other resources, totaling $1,798,917.75. Excuse me. We've closed 140 cases, and of those, it has been 77 goals accomplished. And we have the opportunity to apply for funding to different resources. And of those resources, we've received $149,025.13. If you might remember, Cal OES donated 14 travel trailers to the Greenville area through Plymouth County Department of Social Services. Last April, we learned that the county was in the process of giving those back to the state, with people still living in them. At that time, PRS requested that 13 of those trailers be donated to PRS to be used for disaster survivors. The county kept one of them. We took possession of those trailers at the end of June of 2023. Since that time, we have donated 11 of the travel trailers to fire survivors. We currently have 2 that are waiting donation. So they have been free of charge. The registration's free. They're set up free. So everything is just so the survivor has a warm, safe place to stay. Last Thanksgiving, so a month ago, we gave away 43 Thanksgiving dinner baskets. And today, actually, we're giving away 49 Christmas baskets. Baskets include, of course, dinner. There are gas gift cards to Walmart, gift cards for the kiddos for Christmas presents, some candy, some fun little things in there. So it's our pleasure to help those who are most vulnerable and affected by the fire. I wanted to mention weatherization since it's that cold time of year. We also run the Dixie Fire Resource Center. We do have some weatherization funding available for those that do live in travel trailers. So if you're interested in that, you can contact Rena at the Resource Center. We have also received quite a lot of donated firewood that we have given out to folks who've needed it, and that program will open up again in January. So if you or someone you know needs firewood, please connect with Rena and we can get some donated firewood to you. Nancy wanted me to share that we were happy to celebrate a family returning to their home in Canyon Dam right before Thanksgiving. So we love to celebrate those wins with our folks. It's a long haul for them, so we're happy to celebrate those things. And Patrick is going to talk a bit more about this, the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery. It's a mouthful, but it's an opportunity for the building of a home for yourself if you qualify. If you are interested, if you think you're interested, please connect with the disaster case managers. We have several in the back here if you want to talk to them today. If you are not in the disaster case management, but know someone or are someone who could be interested in one of those rebuilds, also please connect. They can share information with you. We are still getting information from the state about how the program is going to work, but it is an opportunity to have a home rebuild free of charge. And the last thing, because we do receive money from funders, they want to know what your funding, what your money looks like. So we do ask invasive questions if you're in disaster case management, because our funders want to know those questions. That was again something that folks wanted me to mention. We're not being nosy. It's that people that give us money to give to you all, they want to know what your money looks like. And I think that's it for me today.
Thank you, Paula. And again, you know, as we go from one thing when we're talking about master utilities planning and infrastructure and so on and so forth, and those are big moves. And then you can switch gears and look at the data that Paula just provided and the DCMs that are sitting right there doing the daily, weekly work with hundreds of personnel, people, individuals and families, you know, for months and now a couple of years. So the lion's share of a lot of the day-to-day is really with our disaster case managers at Plymouth Rural Services and North Valley Catholic Social Services, who routinely meet with their individuals and families time and time again to find those unmet needs and to secure that safe and secure housing. So I find this interesting in that we have all these things going on, and some of them are very big, but at the micro level, families and individuals still have a tremendous need. And as our disaster case managers that are sitting right over there that do that work every day. So thank you all very much. Also shifting gears, we have Kara King joining us from the Indian Valley Chamber of Commerce.
Hi all. I tried to get Randy here for his thing, you guys. I'm so sad. I sent him the videos of it, so hopefully he'll see it. So good, great fun stuff happening with the Chamber of Commerce. We're having our holiday mixer tonight, so I hope you can all show up. All are welcome. It's a mixer, so we're trying to get more people to join, so you don't have to be a present member to come. It's check out Facebook. It's potluck, certain your last names, you can bring certain things, appetizers, side dishes, desserts. I don't know if you know how that works. If you're like A through D, it's appetizer, that sort of thing. I can't remember the exact one, so check Facebook for that. But super excited about that. We had our annual elections. We had three or four spots available. 3 of us stayed on, and we have 1 new member, Mickey, the Dixie Fire tree canopy project. Yeah, so she's going to come on, and Laura Wheeler is graciously, that we had a runoff with the 2, and she graciously committed to being an advocate and volunteer. So I think you got that spot on that one, but thank you also, Laura. I don't see Mickey here today. Anything else, Cassie? It's an ugly sweater contest today for the mixer. So oh, our next meeting, we're skipping the 1st January, which is just right after the New Year. So we're going to do January 8th, to be determined where that is. But again, please check Facebook for that. Sorry, that's our only mode of communication right now. We had some delays in getting the website going, but that looks like I just got a notice that it's going to launch any minute, I keep hearing. So we will have a website presence here pretty soon where you can check on all of that. But thank you very much and hope to see you there tonight.
Thank you, Kara. Appreciate it. So just a couple updates from me. I'm going to talk about our January meeting. So we get up and out and over the holidays a little bit, but the first item there, we talked about the steering committee election, but we will have time provided. So this January meeting is going to be a little bit of the kitchen sink, right? Just every kind of clobber in it, just because of the time of year and just some of the things that have come up that need to be addressed at this time. But another opportunity that we have, as Paula alluded to before, is the Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery. So this is a grant provided through Housing and Community Development, which is state office. Their federal counterpart that you may know is HUD. And so this is a program that all told looking at roughly 23 to 24 million in its entirety. And then a portion of that will be allotted for housing for people that meet eligibility requirements financially and through a variety of other circumstances. Those other circumstances and that eligibility is still taking shape, and we'll have more information on that the first week of January in preparation for this January meeting, where representatives from HCD will be either here in person or on Zoom to provide the full comprehensive look at how the program works and how to apply and what those avenues are so that people can take advantage of it. So that's forthcoming. With that, we're also going to shift gears. And so that's one piece of housing, and there are folks that are going to be eligible for that. Then there's another, we want to open up some resources for folks that are looking at housing or building in another way, and having some local contractors available for advice, maybe the potential to even do business, or maybe you're just kind of scratching your head at what to do next if you're thinking about rebuilding a home or business. We're also planning to have a few financial experts, a certified financial planner, a CPA, maybe two, hopefully two, an estate attorney, and some others that can maybe answer some questions that are focused on financial assistance, or not assistance, rather, advice to kind of move out and make some logical decisions. So if you're talking to the contractor and they're saying, hey, I can do this, that, and the other, and you can talk to a financial folks and be like, yeah, maybe this makes sense or it doesn't, whatever works. We'll also have a representative from PG&E. In fact, we got a slide coming up, but we'll just do this now. Casey Holland is the senior outreach rep for PG&E. If you remember Natasha, Casey and Natasha Biener, they did a high five on the roles and responsibilities for the job. So Casey will be here with her Service Connection representative, Matt McGregor, as well, to talk and be available with any questions around Service Connection for homes and businesses, et cetera. Just be a resource represented by PG&E. Yep, there's your information. Thanks, Taylor. Good job. Okay, we're going to move into share outs. Yes, ma'am. Miss Joan Carter from North Valley Catholic Social Services.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with you guys that we're going to be having, since we can't have picnics in the winter, we're going to kind of have a picnic on the 30th of July, 30th of December. Don't even know what month it is. It's going to be over at 105 AU Drive, which is the larger of KD's houses next to Plumas Bank. It's going to be a potluck dinner. North Valley Catholic Social Services will be providing the main food, and everybody else can bring their favorite dish. We're going to have a live band, no alcohol, which is a good thing. And we'll be happy to have everybody come and join us and have a hug before the new year. And it'll give you a chance to kind of check out the space, which he has really generously offered to the community. If you want to have a birthday party or some kind of event there, or if you want to have a meeting there or something like that, it'll be free to the public. We'll have a big calendar up there. Just come in and sign up for a day that's free and you can use it. So we'll be happy to have everybody come and have one more event of the year and enjoy each other's company. So we'll be happy to see you there. I'll have some posters at the back so you can grab one and remind yourself, put it on your calendar.
Thank you, Joan. Taylor, actually, could you go back one slide? Yeah, that one right there. Also, the photo down there, so 127 Crescent Street, Suite 2. I got a sign and everything. It's up, it's ready to go. I'm generally there like 8:30-ish to 5:30-ish, but I'm in and out sometimes. But please stop by, ask questions, tell us what you think, what you like, what you don't like, so on and so forth. I got some big notepads that I'm putting up so people can leave comments if you have questions, things of that nature. But we'll be also showcasing some more items as things emerge around some planning, so that people can weigh in and offer their contributions. So that was one more thing. All right, Mr. Gately, yes. Zach Gately, thank you for joining us.
Just wanted to give you guys a brief update on the broadband, what's going on with that. You might have seen Plymouth Sun. Thank you, Jane, for putting that out. There were some drones out end of last week or this week, excuse me, and through Monday, potentially looking at what the company that's been doing Tilson Tech, the plan for us, just to see the information they've gathered from the providers such as Frontier, Plymouth Sierra Electric, et cetera, the information that the utility companies have online, what's registered with the state, and just verifying that and seeing, all right, this is what we have to work with. Areas focused on were Chester, Warner Valley area, Canyon Dam, Greenville, Indian Valley, Crescent Mills, Indian Falls, Twain, Quincy, and then a bunch out East County as well. And so, you know, like I said last time, there's just been some conflicting reports from what we hear on the ground from the community members and what is being said to this Tilson Tech from the providers. And so that's why they just want to go out and verify. I'd encourage you guys to tune in or look at the recording of the January 2nd Board of Supervisors meeting. There will be a presentation on the Plymouth County specific broadband plan and what that's going to look like. So thank you.
Thank you for that, Zach. It's good information from broadband. Sheriff Todd Johns, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, everyone. Just real quick, I wanted to discuss the recent amount of crime in the area. I've been getting a lot of phone calls from folks. I would like to tell you that I have enough patrol staff to start coming out here and hammering the streets, but the reality is we're still struggling at the sheriff's office. We are getting some staff back. Some of you may have read that we're going back to our normal shifts that we had before the reduction. So that would mean that we would have 2 shifts a day. They start at 7 o'clock, go to 5 o'clock, then from 5 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning. That still leaves a period of time, early morning hours, where we're not out on the streets, unfortunately. And I will also say that means that we may have 1 car in the north part of the county and 1 car on the east side of the county. So they may be in Greenville, they may be in Chester. So what I'm telling you is, please be vigilant. Please watch your house, your neighbor's house. Please secure your property. Let us know if you see folks. We will get there as quickly as we can. But I am very aware of it, and we absolutely do want to catch the folks that are doing this. We do have a pretty good idea who they are. But that being said, you have to find them. So. Other than that, yes, ma'am. So we do have cameras. We have monitored those. We've actually, they've been successful in helping us with a couple things. I will tell you, we did make an arrest a couple of weeks ago on somebody that had some stolen property out of Greenville. But that was only 1 of 2 that were in the group, and we're still looking for the other individual. You know, these folks talk to each other. They know when we work, they know where we are. They have scanners like everybody else does. So anyways, we have used the camera successfully. I do know that there was some concern a couple of weeks ago about somebody hearing about a shooting that occurred north of Greenville. I will tell you that is a criminal case that is in the courts. I can't speak in detail about that, but it was related to a traffic stop that was occurring in the area, and it's something that's being investigated. But as I told Jane last week, we don't have concerns with somebody going around and shooting within the community. So yes, ma'am.
Our ability to protect ourselves, especially with firearms on our own property if someone is on our property.
Okay, so, I think the question relates to your ability, well, just to rephrase, your ability to protect yourself with a firearm on your own property. So if you're inside of your residence and somebody is trying to break into your residence, you have the ability to protect yourself with a firearm. If they are just simply on your property, I would be very cautious about that. It doesn't mean that you certainly can't carry a firearm on your property, but to actually protect yourself, you need to be pretty cautious about that. I will tell you that I do issue a lot of concealed weapons permits. We get lots of applications. But again, that's for folks to protect themselves primarily within their property, or if they're threatened. And again, we're not seeing that type of violence within the county. What we're seeing is folks who are just taking these opportunities to lift folks to their property around. So
area considered is a detached garage or a building considered your property? In other words, if you see someone breaking into your garage, but your garage is not attached to your house, is that considered breaking and entering into your home?
no, it would be considered a burglary, but it wouldn't be breaking and entering into your home. So again, I will just say, 30 years ago, we could leave our keys in our car, our house is unlocked. You could leave your chainsaw in the back of your truck. If you do it right now, you're pretty much rolling the dice, and it doesn't mean that we won't eventually catch the people that are doing this, but it is going to take us a bit of time. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, Shay. Any additional share outs? Yes, our County Planning Director, Tracy Ferguson.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tracy Ferguson. I'm the planning director for the county, and I want to announce that next month we will have some more pre-approved construction documents available for you. These are specific to the accessory dwelling unit, or ADU, 1,200 square feet or less. We have 4 different plans. 3 of them are single story. 1 of them are 2-story, around 600 square feet, up to 1,200 square feet with the cap. And we are allowing these as well to be used as primary dwelling units. So really, it is an accessory dwelling unit program funded through a state grant, where we had consultants come and prepare these, again, pre-approved all through the building department, so they're ready to roll. So good news, come talk to me, the building department, the planning department, everything will be up on the website. We also have materials as to how you may use these on your property, what your zoning is, the setbacks, all the rules and regulations around the code. So more to come. And we do have an idea book, is what it's called. So more of like a brochure that you can look through and to understand the floor plans, all of the different possibilities. So really, it is going to be at the end site specific. So, the size of your parcel, if you have a primary residence and you want to build this ADU, that the footprint of that ADU to fit on your parcel, and, so forth. So we have some long and skinny ones, we have some square ones, we have some L-shaped ones. So we're trying to, we with the 4 different plans, trying to figure out and accommodate as best a variety of these kind of units for different size and shapes of parcels. So thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Yeah, and the ADU pieces in California have changed in the last year plus. So recommend just hitting Google and type in ADU California, kind of read up on some basic information. Super cool opportunities. We can throw some of those crazy kids in one of these things out back and get a little bit more space, but that's all right. All right, any additional share outs today? All right. Question and answer. Questions, comments, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
I'm wondering what's gonna happen with the hill on Main Street. That is kind of all the dirt's coming down.
Specifically like erosion and drainage on Main Street?
438 Main Street, and
Yes,
when it rains, it all comes down to and it goes across the street.
Okay,
So every big rainstorm we have.
Tracy may have an answer for you on that one. And if anybody presented, please come on up so that people can ask questions.
Hi, yeah, so I've been tracking this for some time with the Public Works Department. And also latest information, I did not get a phone call back, and this has been several weeks, months, CAL FIRE. So we were trying to figure out, you know, on the property with the ownership, and was there a timber harvest plan done, and with erosional, you know, sort of all of the stormwater pollution prevention, and exactly. So to know that I have an email into CAL FIRE, and seems like I need to call the Reading office specifically or down to Sacramento to get the answers. So we have been trying to understand, you know, who's responsible is basically, I think, in the end, where we need to get to, and then how we can address it. So,
Well, weren't they supposed to put their road, I mean, because literally there's no more erosion stuff, it went over. And that was a year ago. So, I mean, it's going to just wipe out anything coming down that mountain. I mean, it's not something, I want to build my house next year, and I want to make sure it's not, I mean, I've tried to do things myself, but you know, it can't just be like, well, when we get to it, I mean, we're trying to build our houses.
yes, so I will resurrect this. John Manley's the Public Works Director. He was aware, I believe, other Public Works, you know, employees were out because, you know, county roadway and affecting the county roadway and the drainage and so forth. So let me get your contact information so I can specifically contact you after as well. And I will.
Pictures of my house too.
Yeah.
So I'm just. It's something that can't go on. I mean,
Understood.
it's not my land.
Understood. Yeah, that's what we were trying to figure out, the ownership there, and then what was done and the protocols, and how it can be addressed to be corrected.
Okay.
Thank you. Any additional questions? And again, recall that we have both Tyler and Patrick Doherty on the line. I think Taylor still on Zoom, if there are any questions around that specific presentation. Yes, sir. I'll trade you. You can have this one.
And this is for Tyler and Company. Good presentation about the this infrastructure, the microgrid and so forth. A couple questions you may have stated during the presentation, and it got lost in my head someplace, but there are two questions. One is, where are the dollars coming from? That is, what company, corporation, entity is paying for the design and build of this so-called microgrid, and who is going to pay for long-term operation and maintenance of this entity, well, not entity, but system process?
Yeah, so I can jump in, and then Patrick maybe can help out if he's still on. So the entity that is paying for the planning work, which is the scope that we're under right now, the master planning work, that's an organization called Alumbra Foundation. It's a foundation that focuses, they do a lot of international work, but one of their particular interests is in like small rural timber town communities, and their role in you know, forest health and things like that. So they've worked in Medford. So they're basically funding this initial planning phase. Within the planning phase will be we will identify how it gets implemented, which would have potential funding opportunities for it. So right now, again, we're under the planning phase. The planning phase has been paid for by Alumbra Foundation, and that's our scope that we're working under right now. And within that, we'll identify where and how projects could get funded. To your second question is really around maintenance and operations. That has been something that has been of concern of most everyone we've talked to. is how do we ensure that we don't design a system that could not be maintained locally by the team and resources that we have here. So for the most part, it would look to Indian Valley Community Service District because they hold water and sewer already. But we're open to other entities that might be able to hold maintenance and things like that. Patrick?
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. Just to add on, the Alumbra Foundation grant is being administered by the great team over at the Almanor Foundation. So we're excited to be working with them. So they're providing that direct oversight locally. And then in terms of the design and construction grant that I was talking about, that is PGE or PG&E funding. So that money for design construction for the microgrid would come from there. For some of there's another element that we're exploring, and that is to create a community choice aggregator. And that's just a way of buying energy locally. The idea being that to create a little bit more independence for the Indian Valley area, IVCSD could create and maintain a community choice aggregator service, and that would purchase energy from local generating sources, whether that's biomass or solar or hydro, geothermal, and keep those dollars that people in the Indian Valley are paying for energy, keep those dollars circulating inside the valley and not export them out to Sacramento or wherever. So that's another element of it. That would, and it would be those dollars that could help pay for some of the operations and maintenance. Basically, ultimately ratepayers would be paying for that. Now, the test here is that we don't want to increase anybody's bill, and we want to make sure we had a lot of conversations with Adam and his team about making sure that the staff at IVCSD will not be overburdened by any of the new designs or assets that are built out under this plan. So we're being very sensitive to capacity of the community to manage this stuff, and so we're trying to keep the solutions as simple and elegant as possible. Thanks for the question.
And team on Zoom, I think there's a follow-up question, or do you have a question about something else, Matt? Okay. All right. And sir, did that answer your question? Okay, good. Matt Fogarty, you have a question?
Yeah, question. This question for Tracy, if Tracy could give us an update on the mine meeting that happened last week.
Hello, there we go. All right, so the Plumas County Planning Department, we're processing a vested rights determination right now for the Ingalls Superior Mines. This is US Copper Corporation as the applicant. And so we first had a public meeting on October the 11th before the zoning administrator collected public comment on the item. The zoning administrator continued that meeting to December 13th, which was just this past Wednesday. So we held another meeting to collect some additional public comment, 2 hours of public comment actually. So a really great meeting, robust dialogue and conversation there. And the zoning administrator yet again continued the meeting to May the 8th. So that is sometime in the future. What the county is doing now, planning department, we're going to contract with a vested rights determination expert. So someone that has expertise in the Surface Mine Reclamation Act, in vested rights determinations, a consultant that has attorneys as well, because this is not only, a factual determination of the history of mining on the property, but also all the legal court cases that have occurred throughout the years. And so, how would those court cases and standings and precedent affect this particular vested rights determination? So by mid-January, I hope to have a consultant on board, execute a contract, and then we would work with them over the course of 8 weeks to have them review the whole of the record, all of the public comments received to date, the staff report that was delivered on October 11th, the applicants, all the information, and so forth, and then come to, recommendations and comments themselves independently with the whole of the record and that review. Would anything change? Was there new information that had, that would be uncovered that may, have a recommendation, because the October 11th staff report did recommend to vest the mining rights. So that is the recommendation on the table at this time before the zoning administrator. So is there anything else, out there that may change that determination where then the recommendation to the zoning administrator would not be to vest those rights to mine? So I don't know if there's any other questions on that, if that was a summary. So county is engaging in a consultant over the course of 8 weeks, and then we'll review with them, another 3-4 weeks likely, and then we would release all of that information in early April to the public so that there is enough time to review all of the material for then that May 8th hearing. And likely that May 8th, it would be May 8th, 10 a.m. We met at the Mineral Building at the Fairgrounds in Quincy. There was another comment to say, let's bring that meeting to Indian Valley because this is the area that, primarily would be affected. So please provide me information. I mean, we can come to you and meet here in Indian Valley if that is more convenient. And 10 a.m. is the typical time for the zoning administrator meeting. We could set a different time if we need to have that hearing in the evening, because that's more appropriate for members of the public to attend and be able to provide public comment. So a couple items there. I love the feedback. We want public comment. We want to, have this be an open and transparent and factual and legal conversation.
Great, thank you, Tracy. Matt, did that answer your question? Yeah. All right, team, what do we think? Any more questions, comments, concerns? Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering, I used to come here and I stopped because it's all about everything but the homeowners. And I'm just wondering, are you gonna do anything to help us homeowners who don't qualify for programs, but are rebuilding our houses back? I mean, is there?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And so to that end, that's looking at the January meeting. So for those, if you're in that particular case, then hoping to have at least 4 or 5 contractors here that you can ask questions from, get some advice. Also some financial experts that are available.
Well, I've already done one house. And
Okay.
I'm gonna redo another, or mine start. So
Great.
I know that process of it, but is there, anyway, it's expensive to build these houses.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
mean, it cost me 600,000 to build a 2-bedroom house.
Mhm.
So I'm just wondering, are they ever going to try to get together and, help in some way of organizing people to maybe buy supplies or stuff together? Anything to help us at all?
Sure, no, so I'll get your contact information specifically so I can do a little bit of research to find out exactly what you may need. But
I
in
just
terms
think-
of like a comprehensive sort of like bill of materials, like those types of things, those are
Well, I
concepts that
think-
we've not yet explored, but we can take a
And
look
I
at.
think it's personally a lot of hope. None of the homeowners feel like or landowners have gotten much out of anything. And I just think people need information, and I'm also a real estate agent and
great.
talking to people all the time about whether they're gonna rebuild or not. They just don't feel like they've been looked at as much as some of these other projects that you've looked at in this.
Well, I appreciate that feedback and I'd love to talk to you like one-on-one so I can kind of get some more
Sure,
details about what you'd like to see and then we can figure out how to put something together.
perfect.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Yes, sir.
I think this really comes along just as comments. and speaking about rebuilding and things, frustration. I think some people who have started rebuilding realize, we need tradespeople here, and it's awful hard to build. And right now, we're waiting for a tin roof. We need the tin roof on, and we can't get it on because we don't have tradespeople around and resource to get that. So that's a struggle because we're a remote community. We don't have people, but that's a reality. But we need some people maybe to pull together to find out how we can eliminate that as an obstacle. So that's a big thing to I think this is what's just being spoken of here. But I wanted to bring that up, and of course, another idea that I had evaporated. But that's the big thing, trying to rebuild, not being able to because trades aren't here. We can't do that. We need housing. There's all kinds of things in order to bring those people here so they can help us build. But I think that's really the big thing and if we could somehow bring a group of people together somehow to say we're in this phase or that phase, and then as was spoken before, maybe we can bring down the cost of things because there's more people in that process. So I think what you need is find out where people are at in their process so you can maybe aggregate together and help. So we look forward to the ability of the people who are trying to rebuild being helped to some extent, because we don't have an infinite pot. We have a pot of money maybe out there that people don't, but it's not an infinite one. But we want to rebuild and bring our community back. We like Greenville.
100%. And thank you for that comment. And that can definitely help kind of shape things in terms of like an immediate need for trades and workforce, but then a long-term view of workforce development. And these are some things that have been moved along, but it requires more attention and investment. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Kerosene tank. I have a kerosene tank that I want to get rid of. It has some kerosene in it. It has a stand. And I have some flyers in the back. If someone would be interested in that, I would love to get rid of it.
All right. Thank you. Absolutely. All right. Well, we would like to wish everybody a happy and safe holiday season with your friends and family. And if you know of anybody that is in need or has some basic items that they'll need to make it through this holiday season, please let us know. Let me know. We can try to connect the dots on a few things. But thank you all for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your Saturday.